In the last video, we have seen SMTP delivers the message from Arun's mail server to the Rahul's mail server. The message is placed in Rahul's mailbox. So throughout this discussion, we have assumed that Rahul reads his mail by logging onto the server host. So this was the standard way of doing the things in early 1990s. But today, mail accesses using a client-server architecture. The typical user reads email with a client that executes on the user's end system. For example, on a system or a laptop or a smartphone, you will be accessing the mails. SMTP has been designed for pushing email from one host to the another. Arun's user agent uses SMTP to push the email messages into his mail server. Then Arun's mail server uses SMTP to send the mail to the Rahul's mail server. But here there is a puzzle. How does a recipient like Rahul running a user agent on his local system obtain the messages which are presented in his mail server? Note that Rahul's user agent cannot use SMTP to obtain the messages because obtaining the messages is a pull operation, that is pull protocol we require, whereas SMTP is a push protocol. That means SMTP is used to send messages from Arun's user agent to the mail server and from his mail server to the Rahul's mail server. So to get Rahul's mail messages from the mail server, his user agent must use the pull protocol. So this puzzle is solved by the introducing a special mail access protocols that transfer messages from the Rahul's mail server to his local system. So there are currently a number of popular mail access protocols involving the POP3, that is the Post Office Protocol version 3, then IMAP, the Internet Message Access Protocol, then we have the HTTP protocol. So these protocols are the pull protocols, so in which these protocols are used to get the mails from the mail servers. First one, Post Office Protocol version 3, that is a POP3. POP3 is an extremely simple mail access protocol. It is defined in RFC 1939, which is short and quite readable. Because the protocol is so simple, its functionality is rather limited. POP3 begins when the user agent opens a TCP connection to the mail server on port number 110. With the TCP connection established, POP3 progresses through three phases. The first phase, authorization, second phase, transaction, and third phase, that is update. During the first phase, the authorization, the user agent sends a username and a password to authenticate the user. During the second phase, transaction, the user agent retrieves messages. Also during this phase, the user agent can mark messages for deletion, remove deletion marks, and obtain mail statistics. The third phase, that is update, occurs after the client has issued the quit command ending the POP3 session. In a POP3 transaction, the user agent issues commands and the server responds to each command with a reply. So there are two possible responses. First one, OK plus OK, sometimes followed by the server to client data used by the server to indicate that the previous command was OK, that is fine, and error minus error used by the server to indicate that something was wrong with the previous command. Then the authorization phase has two principal commands, that is one is username and pass, that is password. Suppose that the mail server is the name of your mail server, you will see something like this. Telnet mail server 110, port number 110 is a port number, then telnet is the protocol, then plus OK is the message, POP3 is the mail access protocol, then server is ready and the user is Arun, then the reply from the server is OK, then the password is angry, then the reply from the server is OK, user successfully logged in. Next is a transaction phase. Here C stands for client is the user agent and S standing for the server is the mail server. And the last phase is update phase. So this is the information about the POP3, that is Post Office Protocol version 3. Next one is IMAP, that is Internet Message Access Protocol. Like a POP3, IMAP is a mail access protocol. It has many more features than a POP3, and IMAP server will associate with each message with a folder. When a message first arrives at the server, it is associated with the recipient's inbox folder. The recipient can then move the messages into a new or the user created folder and read the message or delete the message and so on. The IMAP protocol provides commands to allow users to create folders and move messages from one folder to another. IMAP also provides commands that allows users to search remote folders. Then IMAP servers maintain user state information across IMAP sessions. For example, the name of the folder and which messages are associated with which folders. And another important feature of IMAP is that it has commands that permits a user agent to obtain components of messages. So this is all about the IMAP. Then the next mail access protocol is web-based email, that is HTTP. So HTTP is also used as the mail access protocol in web-based email. More and more users today are sending and accessing their emails through their web browsers like Google Chrome, then Mozilla, right? So with these browsers, the users can send their emails. Hotmail introduced web-based access in the mid of 1990s, which was introduced by Sabir Bhatia. That is an Indian American businessman. Now, web-based email is also provided by Google, Yahoo as well. With this service, the user agent is a web browser and the user communicates with its remote mailbox via HTTP. When a recipient such as Rahul wants to access a message in his mailbox, the email messages is sent from Rahul's mail server to Rahul's browser using the HTTP protocol rather than the POP3 or IMAP protocol. When a sender such as Arun wants to send an email messages, the email messages is sent from his browser to his mail server over HTTP rather than over SMTP. Arun's mail server, however, still sends messages to send and receive messages from other mail servers using SMTP. So this is all about the mail access protocols. Thank you for watching this video.